I was here at the previous call to the public regarding the animals in our city. A few days after this previous call to the public meeting, I met with the director of El Paso Animal Services at his request. He wanted to hear my concerns regarding the cats and dogs. One of the things I mentioned to the director was the numerous amount of people who have tried to do the right thing, that is, bringing in stray cats and dogs. I mentioned many people are being turned away, but the director told me that wasn't true. He told me people were not being turned away. However, just as soon as I left this brief meeting I had with the director, there was a lady outside the shelter with a dog waiting to be helped. She thought I was an employee, but of course I told her I wasn't, but I did offer to help. She told me she had found a stray dog and came to the shelter a few days ago wanting to foster and adopt the animal. But she was turned away and was told they were busy and about to close for the day. That's fine. But then she came back the next day at an earlier time, but again was turned away. She came back a third day. So I then telephoned the director and I told him, hey, look, there's a lady here waiting outside, and that this was the third time she had stopped by. This is not the first time I've seen such poor service from our shelter. As I mentioned a few moments ago, the director stated that they don't turn people away, but in fact, people are being turned away, such as in this case. People are frustrated. Your constituents are frustrated. They are tired of seeing all these loose, abandoned, and injured animals. They are tired of being treated poorly by the animal services shelter. People such as myself, our animal rescue groups have offered numerous suggestions, but we are not being listened to. Just recently, I was told a local TV channel was offering free public service announcements to the shelter, but the shelter never got back to them. One of the employees at the animal shelter told me, well, it costs money and it's not within our budget. How could it cost money if this is a free service that the news channel media is offering? We need to do something, and we need to do it immediately. This is just getting worse.
Thank you, Mr. Alva.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Ron Como. He's also speaking regarding animal services.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry I tripped on my tie on the way up here. I got to start out with good. I fully appreciate the things that have been happening. I know we've run into a little snag with the school, and I'm hoping we can get that taken care of rapidly so we can move on. One of the things that we need to discuss is the same thing that was just brought up about dog attacks. We have had some serious dog attacks lately. Pets have been killed while people were trying to walk them. And Animal Services takes these aggressive dogs and hands them back to the people that allowed them to get loose and attack people and their pets. Technically, I believe they are supposed to quarantine the stray, and it's being handed back to the owners, and they're getting tickets for licenses and no shots. Imagine that. We have a situation that just happened this weekend with Ruby, who is the newest ASAC member. She was bitten, she was attacked, her pet was killed, and the dog was turned back over to the owner. The first one where the two dogs attacked the throat and the groin, they turned the dog back over to the owner, and the people interviewed on Channel 7 said they didn't feel safe in their own community because this dog was brought back to the owner, who obviously didn't have control over the stray. We have a situation right now in Northeast El Paso that happened on Saturday. We have a gentleman that's out there that's blown every window out of his mobile home. He's torn the doors off of it, the roof's ripped. He's had numerous calls for animal cruelty. He's had numerous calls for all kinds of things. The police department's been out, animal services has been out, nothing has been done. Well, Saturday, he went after one of his neighbors with a baseball bat. So PD showed up, animal services showed up because he had 2 more dogs, 1 shot again. Same guy that had the shot German Shepherd. While they were interviewing the gentleman that he damaged his truck, the police officers got in a physical altercation with this gentleman. Now, understand, this is not the first time they've been there and talked to this guy. But because he attacked a police officer, I guess they decided to check his record. He had outstanding warrants for misdemeanors and felonies. So they confiscated, or they took him in under arrest and contacted the shelter to pick up the dogs. That was Saturday. The dogs are still in the gentleman's front yard. The dogs got loose this morning and chased one of the neighbors who was carrying their child. We need no more excuses about why we can't pick up strays. He needs to come up with a plan. People are going to die if we don't get this fixed. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate everything that has been done. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for your time. Respect. El Paso Code and Ordinance 7.14.020. Every dog, cat, or ferret coming into the possession of an animal welfare organization, including animal services, received in any manner other than a release by the owner of the dog, cat, or ferret, in this case a stray, must be held a minimum of 3 full days if the dog, cat, or ferret does not have a registration tag or microchip, or for a minimum of 6 full days if the dog, cat, or ferret has a registration tag or microchip, before the animal may be transferred or euthanized, with the exception of humanely euthanizing to end severe suffering prior to the end of the hold period. Animal services, ACOs, and 311 dispatchers are telling finders of stray animals, if the stray is taken in by the shelter, that animal will be immediately euthanized, which would be a violation of city ordinance. This is animal services' way of guilting people into keeping stray animals they are unable to care for. This tactic is not only disrespectful, but also a form of psychological abuse to the finders of stray animals. At the last city council meeting, many community members took time off from work, time away from their families, time away from other duties and obligations. They drove downtown right here and searched for parking and walked blocks to City Hall in 100-degree heat in order to come speak before you, only to be disrespected by Animal Services management, laughing at us. Yes, many of us did see that atrocious spectacle displayed by Animal Services management. Community members want to know why the City of El Paso is so dysfunctional as to allow for management of a city department to lie, mislead the public, cheat the taxpayers, break local and state laws, and openly disrespect the ones that are paying their salaries. No other company or organization would allow any of their management employees to do all of this and remain employed with them. When a community member asks a simple question, they deserve an answer, not to be dismissed and disrespected.
What's that?
Are you an open admission shelter?
I'm not gonna play semantics on open and semi and that stuff.
That's where
Mr. Fierro, thank you.
Thank you.
Exceeded
Thank
3
you.
minutes.